Tonight when the sun goes down, you are going to flip a switch. Light will flood the room, and you will not think twice about it. But that switch did not exist for 99.9% of human history, and what your ancestors did without it changed what it means to be human. For 300,000 years, your ancestors spent half their lives in darkness so complete they could not see their own hand in front of their face. No candles, no lamps, just fire. And whatever they did inside that circle of light built everything we are today. The earliest solid evidence of humans controlling fire comes from Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa. Roughly 1 million years ago. But fire was not just warmth. Fire completely restructured the human day. Before fire, your ancestors did what every other primate did. When the sun went down, you climbed a tree and you stayed still. Moving at night meant becoming food. Leopards, hyenas, wolves, all of them could see perfectly in the dark. You could not. A campfire creates a circle of safety roughly 30 feet across. Inside that circle, predators will not come. Outside that circle, you die. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups have documented that people who wander from the fire at night are significantly more likely to be killed, even today. But fire gave your ancestors something no other species had: extra hours. Before fire, the useful day ended at sunset. Fire added 2 to 4 usable hours to every single night, and over thousands of generations. Those extra hours changed our species forever. But here is the thing. What they did with those hours is something no school ever taught you. In 2014, anthropologist Polly Wiesner published a study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. She spent years recording conversations among the Jew/Huansi Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert, one of the last groups on Earth still living close to the original human way. During the day, 80% of conversations were practical. Who is hunting where? Which plants are ready? Logistics, complaints, work. But at night around the fire, everything changed. 81% of conversations became stories, tales of people in distant places, myths about the origins of the world, jokes that made the whole camp laugh. Wiesner argued that firelight conversation is where human culture was born. The campfire was the original theater, the original classroom, the original church. It is where humans learned to think beyond the immediate moment and imagine things that do not exist yet. It is where we became us. And then something happened that changed everything. Because the night was not just about stories. Something else was happening that scientists only rediscovered 30 years ago. In 2001, historian Roger Ekirch published a paper that broke sleep science in half. He had spent 16 years reading old documents, diaries, court records, medical texts, letters, prayer books from the 1400s, even passages in Homer's Odyssey, across 8 countries, across 500 years of history. And in all of them, he kept finding the same 2 words: first sleep and second sleep. Not one sleep, 2. Separated by 1 to 2 hours of being fully awake in the middle of the night. Every single night. This was not insomnia. This was just how humans slept. For thousands of years. People went to bed around 9 p.m. Slept 4 hours. Woke around midnight. Stayed awake for 1 to 2 hours. Then slept again until dawn. And what did they do during those hours? A 16th century French physician recommended couples use this window to conceive children. People visited neighbors. They interpreted their dreams while still fresh. They wrote. They prayed. A doctor's manual from the 1500s called this window the best time to study and reflect, when the mind was calm and the world was still. Here is what nobody tells you. Historians had been reading these references for centuries, and every single one of them mistranslated the same 2 words. First sleep. Because the idea that humans ever slept differently was so impossible to imagine, translators literally rewrote ancient Greek and medieval Latin to match their own modern bedtime. The word was always there. For 500 years. Nobody wanted to see it. But here is what nobody tells you. Science proved all of this in a laboratory. In 1992, psychiatrist Thomas Wehr at the National Institute of Mental Health ran an experiment. He took volunteers and removed all artificial light from their lives. 14 hours of darkness every night, just like your ancestors before electric light. Within weeks, every single participant did the same thing, without being told. 4 hours of sleep, 1 to 3 hours awake, then 4 more hours of sleep. Their bodies just did it, as if some ancient program had been waiting inside them the whole time. Wehr measured their hormone levels during that wakeful window, and found something remarkable. Their brains were producing prolactin at the highest rate of the entire night, the same hormone released during meditation. And after orgasm, they described the state as peaceful, reflective, almost meditative. Nothing like normal waking up. It was its own distinct state of consciousness, one that most modern humans have never experienced. Your ancestors had a word for this window. They called it the watch, the quiet hours, the best thinking of the day. We replaced it with insomnia and a sleep app. In the 1600s, cities began installing street lamps. Paris was one of the first, under Louis XIV, who wanted to reduce crime. London followed, then cheaper candles, then gas lamps. Then in 1879, Thomas Edison commercialized the electric light bulb. And within one generation, the night as humans had known it for 300,000 years was gone. Here is what nobody talks about. The word curfew comes from the French couvre-feu. It literally means cover fire. In medieval towns, a bell would ring at night signaling everyone to extinguish their fires, because night was supposed to be dark. In many medieval European cities, walking outside after dark without a lantern was literally illegal. Night belonged to criminals and the supernatural. People feared the dark in a way we cannot understand today. And then we conquered it. We flooded it with light. And we called it progress. Modern humans are exposed to artificial light an average of 7 to 8 hours after sunset. That light, especially the blue light from screens, suppresses melatonin. Your body does not know the difference between a light bulb and the sun. When light hits your retina at 11 p.m., your brain interprets it as daytime. It delays sleep. It fragments everything. It disrupts the circadian rhythm that evolved over millions of years. That 3 a.m. wake-up you think is insomnia? Your body might just be looking for the watch, the quiet hours, the window your ancestors used to think, reflect, and feel the most peace of their entire day. The window we accidentally deleted. But wait until you hear what came next, because researchers found that it takes exactly 1 week to get 300,000 years of programming back. Researchers found that people who go camping for just 1 week with zero artificial light have their melatonin cycles reset by nearly 2 hours. Their bodies start producing melatonin at sunset, instead of hours after it. That is all it takes. 7 days. For 300,000 years of biology to reassert itself. The Hadza people of Tanzania still live close to the way ancient humans did. Researchers studied their sleep. The Hadza wake in the night. They talk. They tend the fire. They go back to sleep. They average 6.5 hours total. And their rates of insomnia? Nearly zero. Their rates of sleep-related disease? Dramatically lower than the industrialized world. No app, no supplement, no sleep tracker. Just following the pattern your body already knows. For 300,000 years, your ancestors spent their nights around fires telling stories that built civilizations. They slept in 2 blocks with a window of quiet calm in between. They lived under a Milky Way so bright it was just called the sky. And every night when they woke in the dark, they lay in the stillness and thought about their lives. We traded all of that for a light switch. We conquered the dark. We called it progress. And then we spent the rest of our lives staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. wondering why we cannot sleep. Your body is not broken. The night is.